Thank you again for joining us for the PoolSync webinar, PoolSync Wi-Fi controller by AquaCal. Appreciate you guys joining us. Hopefully we'll give you enough information to feel comfortable with upgrading your customers with the AquaCal PoolSync Wi-Fi controller. It is 3 o'clock. We'll give some time for a few more attendees. We had quite a few register. We know that it's a new time these days, trying to get work done here in the pool industry across the country. So we'll give a few more minutes for those to jump in that are planning on attending. Again, I'm going to introduce myself while we give those people the time. My name is Mike Klaffka. I've had the luxury of being with AquaCal Autopilot for a little over 18 years. Started at Horner Express, Horner Express, South Florida at the time. Also worked at Horner Discus and have found a great sales career in AquaCal and Autopilot, and has followed my family in this business, as many of us have. The presentation we're going to talk about is more of a conversation. We're going to share some still photos as well as a short video and a couple of the videos that are available on our tutorial page on the AquaCal.com website. That'll talk about the HP9 controller upgrade kit. And we'll also discuss the integration with heat and cool units via external controllers. We'll cover those topics as well. We'll cover the basics of the PoolSync, the features that it offers us, as well as the basics of the installation. We will also answer the questions as we can through this presentation, through this webinar. Let me correct myself. And I once again want to thank all of you that are participating in this today, knowing that we're all trying to get a lot of work done in these new times. What I'm going to start with is actually what you're going to receive as a package in PoolSync. Many of you guys may have seen this already, but this is the packaging that comes from AquaCal. It's not all that large. It is the PoolSync Wi-Fi controller. I'm going to open that package up and show you what's inside, and then we'll get on and talk about its benefits, its features, and the simplicity of its installation. When you open up the box inside, you're going to see the PoolSync itself, the Wi-Fi. Wires to hang, and the manual itself. The manual is only 12 pages. There's not a lot to it for the installation. However, it is pretty descriptive. We are updating that manual constantly to make sure we're giving you all the accurate information as it comes to for the installation of a PoolSync. Available through our marketing department, as you know, is all the brochures. One of the very first brochure I'm going to show you is that PoolSync brochure, but I'm going to talk about it first. You're going to have the opportunity to have, through the app, a dashboard that features the temperature, features the flow rate, also gives you a menu item section that you can actually look at and determine the model, serial number, and all of that information. The heat pump, when you go to it on the app, you're going to see its current temperature, its set point, and be able to adjust via dial and up or down. It's pretty unique, and it's easy and simple for consumers to use. I've installed well over a dozen of these already, and we're finding the consumers are pretty excited about what they're coming across in the use of the app. Thirdly is scheduling. You have the ability to set schedules inside the PoolSync Wi-Fi controller. It's really something, and it's simple. Give you an idea. I don't know if you can see that there. That's the actual app itself. This is your dashboard page. On that dashboard, Edison, if you could share that dashboard with us. You're going to see that flow, that temperature. It's going to indicate on for the PoolSync. There's an example of it. It's a screenshot. When you have adequate water flow, up in the upper right, that's going to give you that. To the left is the temperature. And if you look up above the flow, you'll see a 3-dot indicator. That's your menu. That allows you to access additional information. You can go ahead and go to that for me if you don't mind. We're going to, inside that menu, you're going to actually have the ability to see the model, the serial number. You're going to be able to also see gas boost capabilities. There we are. For the very top, you got at the very top of the settings, you got gas boost. Then you got your serial number. model number, version and firmware. You also have the ability to see the scheduling for your backup heat if you're using gas boost. This is a great advantage with the AquaCal Super Quiet HP9 controller, which we'll talk about a little bit later. I have a third still shot we're going to show you. If you could bring that up. That's the actual heat pump function. When you tap on heat on the front, you get to see this page. This allows you to adjust your pool set point up and down via the arrows first or the dial. The dot will allow you to slide the dial back and forth. Notice also right below that it shows you your current pool temperature, 70 degrees. Whether you're in pool or spa mode, in this case pool, and whether you're in heat, cool, or auto. All those functions are fully functional on that side of the app in that section. If you simply want to turn the heat pump off, you can do so by hitting the off button. Again, all you need to do is go to your Android store or your Apple store, download the app, set it up, and you'll be good to go with the simplicity of the PoolSync Wi-Fi controller. Let's take a look at a video of the simplicity and installation and a little bit about what happens. We're here at Brian's house with Sparkle Pools in Long Island, about to install the PoolSync automation for a super quiet heat pump. All super quiet heat pumps are equipped with HP9 microprocessors. The HP9 microprocessor is going to be the bridge to the antenna of the PoolSync, and then we're going to get hooked up to Wi-Fi in just a moment. Now that's a short video and brief at that. What we're doing actually is this. Let me give you a good look just a moment. What you have is an RS-485 on that HP9 board. That's in the upper left-hand corner of the board. That HP9 has these R485 connectors. That R485 connector, you're going to have those wires in as such, in the order of black, yellow, green, and red. It's significant that you get that match correctly as this sits on the board for the functionality of the PoolSync. When you look at the HP9 microprocessor board for that, that is located here, port D. Port D is what you're going to use for your PoolSync connection. Again, the wire series is black, yellow, green, and red. These are very simple to pull off with a needle nose, or if you have nimble fingers, you can do that as well. Simply pull this off the board, just like that, and you can put it back on the same way. I suggest you do this gently because those pins, you can see, are very thin. When you put the connector back on, make sure it's locked into place. Use your finger to push it in completely. You get yourself a nice good lock, and you're ready to use your PoolSync. It's that simple. There's not many controllers that you can use right now that have a simplicity such as that, but that's what we've tried to do with the PoolSync Wi-Fi controller. And again, I want to thank you guys for your patience in this as we're dealing with the COVID situation, and preparing for this was somewhat of a challenge. When you're looking at your R485 connector and your wires, make sure that you cut them enough so you have room to bend, because that D sits tight up in the left-hand corner of your power box inside your AquaCal. Again, that's available in all super quiet models and now all Tropical models as well. When you download the PoolSync app, if you want to, as a service company, when you're there, you don't need the actual credentials of the homeowner, by the way. You can go right into the service setup mode from the main controller itself. When you're looking at the controller, the Wi-Fi antenna, you have at the top a reset button. You have your connection, your service mode, and setup. Service mode allows you, via Bluetooth, not to be connected to the network of the homeowner. You can get in, run the app, set up the Wi-Fi, and get out, and then the homeowner can come home and do the operational setup all on their own, simply by accessing PoolSync on their computer and or their iPhone. When we look at the manual, again, the manual is simple, 12 pages. One of the most important pages on here is page 7, and that's the wiring diagram. When you're looking at the wiring diagram, it's very simple to see the same color coordination, black, yellow, green, red. That's going from right to left as you're looking into the board. And it's important that you get that order in. If not, you're not going to communicate, and the ground will cause the PoolSync not to sync up. Make sure we make that very clear on your installation. Port D is labeled as such. Make sure you follow that. The black always goes to the ground side, yellow to yellow, green to green, and red to red. It's that simple. And so we can move on to the next for me. In case you're wondering what the part numbers are, the PoolSync controller is an ECP0343. ECP0343. The brochures that are available, we're going to talk about the ability to control AquaCal heat pump from your phone. It's going to show you a picture of the PoolSync itself. It's going to show you a picture of our app symbol, as well as the two-line character display that we have with the AquaCal super quiet HP9 microprocessor. The back page of your brochure is going to show you the dashboard, the heat pump and the scheduling, and the simplicity of that. All those brochures are available through our marketing department. Whether you're dealing with Kim Guerra, Michi, or whomever, you can get those brochures sent out. They are available via electronic from marketing, and I'm sure they are doing some in print material as well. The part number that's also pretty important here is if you have versions older than 2018, I believe, in the AquaCal series, and older than 2018 in SQ, you have the ability to do the upgrade kit. The HP9 upgrade kit is part number STK0225. That is going to include your HP9 board, the new display, and all the connectors required to make that modification. What I'd like to do now is show you the video that we have on the AquaCal website that is really, really simple to follow and makes it easier while you're in the field to do this conversion. If you can go ahead, if you don't mind, we'll play that video.
Older AquaCal units can be easily upgraded to the new HP9 heat pump controller, allowing the user to take advantage of several exciting new features. The STK0225 upgrade kit contains step-by-step instructions and everything needed to make this conversion. There is also an optional STK0226 upgrade kit that comes with a 100-foot cable so the display or user interface can be installed at a convenient location away from the heater. The following should only be attempted by qualified persons that have the knowledge and experience to properly work with and test live electrical circuits. Before beginning any work, turn off power to the heat pump. Verify that power is off using a suitable test meter. Before starting the conversion, make sure your model has room for the new control board and the electrical panel. If you have an issue with the fit, contact AquaCal technical support before proceeding. Start by replacing the old display. Cut the tie wraps and unscrew the old display. When installing the new display, be very gentle when tightening the display screws. The surface can crack if the screws are over-tightened. Secure the display cable with a new tie wrap in the same location as the old one, making sure the wire can't shift and come in contact with the fan blade. On models with a pop-out display, make sure that the wire doesn't interfere with the operation of the mechanism. To get the display connector through the hole and into the electrical panel, it may be necessary to remove and cut the plastic grommet. Next, change the control board. As you disconnect each set of wires, label them with the terminal they were removed from. This will make it easier to reattach them later. If you have a reversing model, remove the blue wire from the fan relay and set this wire aside for later. Remove the screws securing the old control board. The new board is a little larger, about 1 inch higher and wider than the existing board, but the mounting screw pattern is the same. Be sure to use the correct mounting holes that have standoffs on the back. Do not use any of the holes with white rings around them. Those do not have standoffs and the board could be damaged. It's usually easier to mount most of the wires before securing the control board. Connect the display cable to LCD display. Using the wire connector adapters provided with the kit, connect the following: HP switch, LP switch or jumper wire, FS1 or flow switch. FS2 remains empty, 24 volt from the transformer. If you have a reversing model, there may be an extra red wire here. If there is, discard the dual adapter and set the wire aside for later. Rev or reversing valve if you have a reversing model. Otherwise, this remains empty. Comp or compressor contactor. Fan relay. If you have a reversing model, connect the red and blue wires that we set aside earlier to the HP2 terminal. Next, connect the water temperature sensor to WS. Then connect the defrost sensor to DS. Now, mount the new Defrost 2 sensor included in the kit on the left-hand side of the evaporator coil. It should go on the inside, approximately 5 to 6 inches in and 5 to 6 inches down. Take 2 of the tie wraps provided in the kit and cut the ends so they form a point. From the outside, carefully push them through the evaporator coil about an inch apart. Take a pencil or similar object and carefully separate the aluminum fins on the inside next to the tie wraps. Push the pointy end of the tie wrap back through the coil, insert the sensor, and snug up the tie wrap so the sensor doesn't move. It doesn't need to be super tight, just enough to keep the sensor in place. Route the new sensor wires into the electrical panel and connect to DS2. Next, you need to mount the new ambient air sensor provided in the kit as shown here, or to a similar location somewhere outside of the airflow stream and away from direct sunlight. Route the new ambient air sensor wires into the electrical panel, connect them to the adapter, and connect to air. Secure the excess wire from the new defrost and ambient air sensors with tie wraps as needed. If you did not mount the board to the panel earlier, go ahead and secure it now. Double check all wiring connections, and if everything looks okay, turn the breaker back on and re-energize the heat pump. When energized, the controller will prompt you to enter the unit model and serial number. It is essential to enter these numbers properly because different options and functions will be automatically programmed based on the model number. Be sure to hit Save Configuration. If you see any error messages, go back and double check the wiring connections. If no errors appear, then your upgrade is complete. Need more information? Check out the installation manual included in the upgrade kit or available at AquaCal.com. Or you can also contact AquaCal's customer support department at 800-878-0998.
All right. Again, one of the things that I think is very important to understand is AquaCal, we've done a great job in putting those tutorials right there for you to use. Again, you follow that video. It's a simple process to go ahead and make that change. What I would tell you though, in my experience, we've had in the older versions of the TropiCal units, because there is a smaller electrical box, you've had to make some additional modifications there. The temp sensor has to be to the front of those older units that had the plumbing coming out of the back. Keep that in mind on those older TropiCal units. Most all other electrical boxes, however, that STK0225 kit, the board, yes, it's an inch larger on either side. It does fit nicely. The key thing I can tell you is, as we said in the video, make sure you label each of your wires as you're taking them off the older microprocessor board. All of the kits include the attachments you need to make this a simple installation. Installation should take no more than 45 minutes to an hour. When you're looking at the PoolSync installation, you should not be able to spend more than 30 minutes at best in doing that. The biggest issue you may have is where you're finding your Wi-Fi signal. Keep in mind when you're telling your consumer, if they have a router and they have a router that has a 2.4 gigahertz and a 5 gigahertz band, and their equipment is more than 100 feet from their home, have them to select the network that is the 2.4 gigahertz. Reason being, that allows for a longer distance of reception. The PoolSync antenna can reach up to 300 feet pretty regularly. Our last installation the other day, we were able to hit that signal strongly from almost 300 feet away. Again, that 2.4 gigahertz signal from their router when they're setting up their own network is the one that's going to give them the furthest distance. It's best used for the PoolSync and really any Wi-Fi antenna that's going to be further out. One of the other features that we're going to talk about, if you have any questions, again, don't hesitate to speak up. Feel free to do that. We're going to talk about the HP9 microprocessor and its ability to communicate with external controllers in a heating and cooling capacity. That's been one of the #1 things we've worked on at AquaCal for a period of time, and now it's available and it is communicating. Edison, if you could go ahead and pull that video up, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
AquaCal heat pumps equipped with the smart HP9 controller can connect to your external pool control system for full heating and cooling operation. Not all external controllers have the ability to regulate cooling, so before you make this connection, be sure your model has cooling control capability. Use this method only if you want to control cooling. If you don't want to control cooling, or you have a heat-only model, use the standard 2-wire method detailed in the installation manual, or covered in the video titled How to Interface an AquaCal Heat Pump with an External Controller for Heating Only, 2-wire method. The following should only be attempted by qualified persons that have the knowledge and experience to properly work with and test live electrical circuits. Before beginning any work, turn off power to the controller and the heat pump. Verify that power is off using a suitable test meter. Run a 2-conductor control wire between the heat pump and the external controller panel. Be sure to follow all applicable local codes for electrical control wiring. Use extreme caution when making connections. Never attempt to make a connection with the power on. Permanent damage to the controller circuit board and the heat pump control board can occur. Locate port B on the heat pump controller board. The blue connector can be removed to assist with wiring and to properly identify the correct port. Connect the control wires to the port B terminal. At the external controller, locate the 4-pin COM port or RS485 connector. Connect the 2 wires to the center data ports. This is an RS485 communication protocol, so the wire orientation or polarity is important. We'll show you how to verify the correct polarity in a moment. If there are already wires connected to the COM port, it's okay to double up or add the new wires on top of any existing wires. Restore power to the heat pump and the controller. Now you're ready to program the heat pump to work with the external controller. Swipe to unlock. Press the menu button. Press the up arrow to find the installer menu and press enter. Use the arrows to enter the access code of 17 and press enter. Use the up arrow to find Set External Control Mode and press enter. Use the up arrow to change to Smart. Press enter to save and then press menu to exit. The heat pump display will now read Under Remote Control. The heat pump and the controller are now establishing communication. When the heat pump has displayed under remote control for longer than 45 seconds, communication has been established and the only thing left to do is set up and program the controller. Setup and programming vary by model, so consult the user manual for your controller. If, after 45 seconds, SmartCom fault appears on the heater display, shut off power to the heat pump and the controller, and reverse polarity by swapping the 2 communication wires at either the heater or the controller, and then restore power. If you are unable to establish proper communication and continue to see a SmartCom fault, cycle the power or reboot your controller and heat pump. Double-check the wiring for breaks and make sure it's connected to the right port. Still unsuccessful or need more information? Check out the installation manual available at AquaCal.com or contact AquaCal's customer support department at 800-878-0998.
Once again, I want to thank you all for that. We know we dedicated an hour to this presentation. However, there's not a whole lot of additional information that we can provide you. So I'm here to answer any questions. I know we have some other people available that we can chime in. Matthew Gamolka has been a great asset to AquaCal back at the factory, and also all available to any technician out there if you need to have questions answered. He's one of the best to reach out to. But if you have questions or concerns or something that you want to ask regarding the PoolSync Wi-Fi controller, let's go ahead and have that. If not, we will, I guess, end this a little bit early. It looks like it only took about a half hour, but I will tell you this, in my years and waiting on a controller, the PoolSync is a big deal. We're seeing a very great success here up in the Northeast. I know it's an easy, simple tool to use. It's a great way to update your old AquaCal units that are out there, giving someone a handheld control when they simply have a heating device and nothing more. The future updates that are coming alongside with PoolSync and the HP9 microprocessor controller will allow you to operate pumps. It will allow you to add additional schedules. We're working on all that right now. We'll release all that in phases. One of the neat things about the updates that will come down through PoolSync, those will be coming from the cloud. One of the other things about PoolSync that's nice is whenever there's an error message on your heat pump, it's going to indicate that in the notifications on your phone. One of the things that I think is important is that PoolSync is available now. It's ready. Your customers will like it. It's simple and easy to use. I really do want to thank everyone for participating in today's webinar. I apologize for its choppiness. We're definitely going to improve on all of that. If you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to any one of us. I see there's one in the chat session maybe. Can the PoolSync operate other devices? It will. It's forthcoming. We'll be operating, hopefully by next spring, the ability to operate variable speed pumps and other items with PoolSync and the HP9 microprocessor. Let's see our next question. One of the ideas that you got to remember too is when you're looking to get a signal for the PoolSync, you want to make sure you hold up your cell phone out in the area of the equipment. That is going to be the best indicator. When you have a full bar for the Wi-Fi signal, that's your location. Again, keep in mind and telling your homeowners 2.4 gigahertz is going to give further distance for them to operate with their router and their phone. Once you have remote access to your PoolSync through the app, you can access it from anywhere, whether you're in Manhattan, Los Angeles, Chicago, you'll be able to access your pool heater right through that because it is all cloud-based. And how you know if you have an HP9 microprocessor already is you're going to have the 5-button control panel that has the 25 character display on it. That's one of the ways to know. I know currently the HP9 microprocessor, I think, was released in all units in late 2019. So anything that has gone out this year and in late 2019, all should have HP9 microprocessors. We have a question about, can you run multiple PoolSyncs on the app? I'll get that question. I'm not sure of that, if you can run multiple PoolSyncs on one app, but you certainly can have more than one person having access to your own PoolSync in your backyard, but I'm not sure if you can add more than one to the app. You can check that out. In a pool spa combo, it certainly will work in a pool spa combo situation. You set your spa temperature, you set your pool temperature. You'll have the ability very soon to function actuators. That is a software upgrade for the HP9, and that'll be part of that process. Once we had a question about whether you can isolate the spa. You can do that with temperature currently. However, you'd need an actuator or valves to move that manually until the future versions of HP9 microprocessor are released late this fall or early in the spring of 2021. We had a question on how old of SQ can this controller function with. I believe the HP9 microprocessor went back to early 19 in the SQ models. SQ icebreakers initially, and then the full SQ heat and icebreaker line. So anything prior to that, you're going to want to purchase an HP9 upgrade kit, the STK 0225. That will include the microprocessor, all the clips for the wiring configurations, as well as the new display. I have a question about if you have multiple PoolSyncs in the app, will you get push notifications for each? I'll have to get that answer for you. I don't know that off the top of my head. We haven't had that situation arise yet. I know there is some work being done, and it's really about privacy in the cloud. So service companies that have multiple accounts that have PoolSync out there, they may want to have access to some of that push down notification. That has yet to be determined on how we're going to do that because there's big privacy issues, as we know, as things are cloud-based. So keep asking that question, and as soon as we have an answer to that, we'll let you know. I got to tell you, I certainly appreciate the patience with this, and we really hope you follow more of our webinars. I know we're doing quite a few each and every day around 3 o'clock. AquaCal, Autopilot, Team Horner, Horner Express. We're doing our very best to keep you educated in these new times. We now are all able to go back to work. I know many of you have spent almost 35 minutes with us at this point. I want to thank you for that. I want to thank Edison and Kim Guerra, Matthew, all of you that have participated today. We hope to see you at our next webinar. I believe it's tomorrow at 3 o'clock. My name is Mike Klaffka with AquaCal and Autopilot. I thank you for your time today. Have a great day.